So till now, what we discuss the predicate. So all the predicates, all type of predicates. So we covered like 4 and 1 and 5 functional interfaces in the predicate. Second is the supplier. So we covered 5 type of supplier, and total we covered here till now is 10. And then we covered the consumer. We covered 8 functional interfaces in the consumer. So till now we discussed the 18 functional interfaces. Now there are 23 more. So what are that? So that are the function type functional interfaces. So I have categorized all these function in this 4 part. And so first part is basically the functions we can call like from data type. So this type of functions basically takes the input whatever specify here. We have to specify the return type in the type. And these type of functions basically converting from the specified data type to the int, long or double here. And these type of functions basically we can call as a conversion, like we are converting from into long into double as name says. And this part or these type of functions are the operators. So normally the operator means what type of input we are passing, we will get same type of input. So let's first discuss the this type of input, that is from data type. So in this there are 4 type of function. So one is the simple function that takes t type of input and return r. Now the second is the int function that take integer or int as a data as a primitive input and return r. So what we are doing, we are converting from int to the required data type or required object. Third is the long function. Here we are taking long as a primitive data input and returning the r. Again we are converting from long to the required data type. That's why I'm calling as a from data functions. Now the next is the double function. So that takes double as a primitive type as an input and returning the R. So I have implemented these 3 functions. So I'm skipping the simple function part because we already discussed in previous sessions. So first is the int function, second is the long function, and third is the double function. And so these are similar type of implementation are similar type as we already saw in the previous session. So there are some minor changes in all these functions. So first is the int function. So int function, so I need to create the object of this class and I'm specifying the return type here. So what we are doing, so I am calling this from data type function. So I am converting from int to string. So first bracket of the lambda is the input bracket. So I'm taking x as input. Input is the int as a primitive data type, and I am converting into the string. So to call this function, we need to call this apply method, and I am passing the int value or int as a input, and I am getting string as a result. Same for the long function. We need to use this long function, and we have to specify the string here and data type here. And again, this function is doing converting from long to the string, and we will get result in the string from the long. And the same for the last one, that is double function. So here we are converting from double to string, and to call this function we are calling the apply method, and the apply method is converting from double to the string. Let's run this from data type function. Yeah, this is the output. First is the 5. So we have successfully converted 5 into the 5 as a string data type. Second is the long function. So we successfully converted from long to the string. And last one is the double function. So we converted from double to the string. Next one is the toInt function. So previously we discussed from data type function. These are the two data type functions. So in this, what we are doing, so we are taking the input as a t type and converting into the int. That's why we are calling toInt function, toLong function, or toDouble function, or we can say two data type functions. So here we are taking t as an input and returning the int. In the toLong function, we are taking the t as an input and returning the long. In the toDouble function, we are taking t as an input and returning the double. And the next one is the by function, toInt by function. two long by function or two double by function. This is similar to the two int data type function. So here we are taking two inputs. So in the by function, I am taking two input and returning only one r. Two int by function means we are taking two input t and k and returning the int. Two long by function is basically we are taking two input t and k and returning long, and two double by function we are taking t and k as an input and returning the double. Let's see the implementation of all these functions. So I have implemented only the two int, two long or two double, and same for the by. I'm skipping the by function and the simple function because we already discussed in the previous session. So first is the toInt function. So in the toInt function, I'm specifying the string as a type. Now this string is the input and toInt is the output. So here first bracket is the input bracket. So here s is the string type of input and I'm converting into the integer, and this will return as the int only. So here to call this function, we need to call this method apply as a int. Here I am passing 5 as a string and I'm getting int result. Same for the toLong function. In the toLong function, again we are passing string type here. So that means we are passing string type of input and we are getting long as a data primitive as a output. So here first bracket is the input bracket. I'm specifying s. I'm converting string to long, so that's why long dot parse long. And to call this toLong function, we need to call this method apply as a long with the string input, and that is giving the long as a result. Now the next is toDouble function. Again, this is similar to the toLong function. Here we are basically converting from string to long, any kind of data type to double. So to call this function, we need to call this method apply as a double, and this will give us the result in a double primitive type. Now these three functions are related to the by function. So here in the by function, we can take two input and only one return type. So two int by function means, so here these are the two type of inputs, and this will return in the output in the int only, int primitive type. So here s1 s2 both are the input, and first I am doing a concatenation, then I am parsing into the integer, and this to call this class we need to call this method apply as a int same, and this will give me the result in a int primitive data type. Second is the toLong by function. It's exactly same to the toInt function. So in this we will get result in the long primitive data type. And the calling function, and to call this function class we need to call this apply as a long. Next is the toDouble by function. So this is also same as with the toLong or toInt by function. So to use this we need to call this class toDouble by function, and again this is taking two type of input, and s1 s2 I am doing concatenation and then it's parsing into the double. So this will give me the result in a double primitive type. Let's run this two data type functions. Yeah, first toInt function giving me the result 5, so I am passing 5 here. Same for the toLong function and the toDouble function. ToLong I am getting 5, and for toDouble I am getting 5.0 because 5.0 is the double value. And for the by function, because I have passed the 5 and 7, so 5 and 7 are the integer, so 5 and so here concatenation is happening here. That's why we are getting 57. toLong function I'm passing 5 and 5, so here concatenation is happening, so I'm getting 55. toDouble function, so 5 and 5, so here concatenation is happening, so I'm getting 55.0 because 55.0 is a double primitive type. Now let's see the next type of functions. So till now what we discussed, like these type of functions where we are converting from data type, like from converting into the required data type, and these type of function where we are converting from required data type to the specified primitive type. So from string to int, from like string to long, like that. Now these are the conversion functions. So these are the conversion functions. So into long, as name says, so like this is taking int as an input and returning long. Into double, this is taking int as an input and returning double. And so it's like for long to int and long to double, these are the same as with the into x function. Like long to int means taking long as an input, returning int. Long to double means taking long as an input and returning double. And double to int function means taking double as an input and returning int. And double to long function means taking double as an input and returning long. So I have implemented the 6 conversion functions here. So into long, into double. So here I am for that we need to call this into long function or into double function, and we can pass x, and now x is int here and this x is the long here. Let both are related to dealing with the as a primitive data type, and here x is the int and x is the double here because we are converting into double. For this, to call this into long, we need to call this method apply as a long. For this we need to call this apply as a double. So this will give us a result in the long primitive data type. This will give us a result in the double data type, double primitive data type. Same for the long to int or long to double. We need to call this class. We need to implement this class long to int, long to double. And because here long to int is happening, so long is bigger as compared to the int. So we need to specifically typecast from long to int. So here this input is a long and this is a int. So to call this long to int function class, we need to call this method apply as a int. That will give us a result in the int primitive data type. For long to double, we need to call this apply as a double method that will give us the result in the double primitive data type. Now the next is the double to int or double to long. So it's like exactly same as we discussed for the long to x or like int to x. So x is basically we can replace with any data type into long or into double. So same thing is happening here. Double to int means we are converting from double to int. So because double is in range is higher than the int, so we are typecasting upfront. So this is double as a primitive data type, and this int is basically a primitive int. And to call this class, so we need to call this method apply as a int. So it will give us result in a as a int data type, int primitive data type. So now the last one is the double to long function. So again double is bigger as from the range point of view from the long. So that's why we need to typecast upfront. So this x is double and this x is long as a data type primitive. And to call this class, we need to use this function or method apply as a long. So this will give us a result in the long primitive data type. Now the next and the last one is the operator. So the operator normally takes the input and return the same type of input. So here first is the unary operator. Unary operating taking t as an input and return the t type of value. Second is the int unary function because now these three are the primitive unary operators. So this int unary function means this function take int as an input and also return the int. Long unary function, this function take long as an input and return long. And the double unary function means take double as an input and return double. And in the binary operator where we can pass two input and that will return the same type of input. In the binary operator means like this is taking two input t and t and returning t. Int binary operator means this binary operator will take two int, and the third is the long binary operator that takes two long, two type of long, that longs are related the primitive long and return the primitive long. And the last one is the double binary operator that take two double as a primitive data type and return the double as a primitive data type. Now I have implemented the first unary operator, and so there are four type of unary operator. So first is the simple unary operator, where to for that we need to create this class unary operator, and we have to specify the data type. And here what I am doing, I am just calculating this care. So here this x first bracket is the input bracket, so I am specifying the x that is a type of integer. So here we are calculating the scare, and to call this unary operator we need to use this method apply. And here I'm passing the 5 as an input, and this will give me the result in the integer data type. So here we are printing the result. Now the next is the int unary operator, as the name says. So this will deal with the only int primitive type, not the object or not the wrapper class. So this x is the int now. So x into x, that is 20. So if we are passing 5, that will return 25. Now This, what is the output? Output is also a primitive int type. So that's why we, to call this int unary operator, we need to call this method apply as a int. So that will give us the result in the int primitive type. Next is the long unary operator. This is similar to the int unary operator. So this will give us the result in the long primitive data type. Now the next is double unary operator. This is also similar to the long and int unary operator. This will give us the result in the double primitive type. Type of result here is the double. Let's run this. So first, the output of this is the unary operator is the 25, because 5 into 5 is 25, and all are giving the same output because we are passing the same input 5. So that's why we are getting the same output. Now the next is the binary operator. So binary operator means where we can pass two input. So I have implemented all the binary operator implementation of function. So first is the simple binary operator where we are specifying the wrapper classes. So integer. So binary operator is the class. So first bracket is the input bracket x comma y. So I am doing the summation here. So this is the sum operator. So to call this binary operator, we need to call the apply function only, and here I am specifying 5 and 10, both are the two input. So binary operator giving the output as a integer as a wrapper class. The next is the int binary operator. So as the name says, like this will deal with the int only. So whatever the input we are getting, all these two inputs are the int primitive data type, and the output of this x plus y is also a int data, primitive data type. So that's why we specify int result here. So to call this int binary operator, we need to call this apply as a int function. Now the next is long binary operator. So as the name say, like we we can pass long as a data primitive type, and binary means we can pass two input. So I am passing x and y, I am doing summation, and to call this long binary operator we can use this method apply as long, and that is giving the result in the long primitive data type. Same for the double binary operator. So the input is here is the double primitive type, and the output is also a double primitive type. Let's run this. So because I am passing 5 and 10 same input to all the four methods, so we are getting the same output here. So now we have completed the full java.util.function package here, because now we already discussed the 23 functional interfaces, and in the previous session we discussed the 18 functional interfaces with the help of consumer, predicate or supplier. And this session is related to the function like functional interfaces. So here what we discuss, like first we discuss the from data type function, where we can convert from specified function to the required data type, that will convert from int to the required data type. Second is the to data function, where we are converting from the required type to specified function data type, like converting from r to int, r to long, r to double. Now the third type is the conversion functions, like where we are already specified the like into long, into double. We are specifying and we are dealing with the primitive only here. Now the next is the operators. So operator means they are taking same type of input and returning the same type of output as a return type.